An anterior repositioning splint is a very specialized splint. And as the name suggests, it brings the jaw slightly forward as the individual bites down into a maximum intercuspal position. It is designed specifically for one of three conditions. Either your patient has very loud clicking but no pain, or the patient has arthritic breakdown, or someone who has acute pain following trauma to the temporomandibular joint. In either of these three clinical conditions, we will advise the patient an anterior repositioning splint. If you want us at MIK Splint Lab to fabricate this for you, you have to send us three things. First is a accurate addition silicone impression of the arch on which you want the splint fabricated. This is typically the maxillary arch. You have to send us a mandibular cast and a protrusive bite record. A record which is usually in an edge-to-edge position, which is the therapeutic position for an anterior repositioning splint. Further in this video, I will help you understand how to take this protrusive bite record. Always start with a wide view cheek retractor in place so that you can visualize all the teeth. Practice with the patient the art of closing into an edge-to-edge protruded position because this is not a natural position for the patient. What you see me use here is Bite Al. This is a block of aluminum reinforced wax, which is your bite registration wax. It is the ideal wax for recording a protrusive record. What I do is I heat the wax wafer only on one side and I take it into the patient's mouth and I press it against the maxillary arch. The reason I do that is so that I can get indentations of the maxillary teeth, thereby allowing me to cut the excess of the wax off. What you see me do here is cut across the central fossa of the maxillary arch towards the posterior and behind the two centrals for the anterior. This anterior cutout is extremely important because it helps position the wax wafer correctly into the patient's mouth. Now with the gas torch, I am heating the maxillary frame just a little bit because it is still relatively soft, so do not overheat. Focus more on heating the mandibular frame. What you see here is me heating only the occlusal surfaces bilaterally, not allowing the center of the wax to go soft. This helps the wax stabilize itself and allows for a very good and an accurate record to be achieved. Now I take this wax wafer again into the patient's mouth. Positioning this wax wafer is critical. Make sure you seat this behind the upper central incisors so that you can visualize when the patient is closing into the edge-to-edge position. All right. Now, because we have trained the patient to bite down, I am not going to manipulate the jaw, but simply ask the patient to bring the jaw forward and bite into the wax wafer until the lower teeth go and contact the upper teeth, as you see right here. We do not want excess wax to extend beyond the occlusal table. We only want the wax wafer to extend up to the buccal cusps of the mandibular molars like you see here. Hold this position because the wax takes a little time to harden. And if you want for the wax to harden faster, you can use water from a 3-way syringe. Once the wax is hard, simply ask the patient to open the mouth and go ahead and retrieve the wax wafer. Friends, this is the wax wafer that you have to send to MIK Splint Lab so that the lab can fabricate an anterior repositioning splint for you. All right. Very, very important is to ensure that the wax is hard. And for this, please put it in ice cold water immediately after you have registered the bite. I hope you liked that video and gained some knowledge from it. If you want more details about what an anterior repositioning splint is, for how long should you give it to the patient, what to do next, go ahead and scan this QR code. It will redirect you to a specific page on mikeducation.com where you can gain more knowledge and understanding about the anterior repositioning splint. Take care and wish you all the very best.